Two people sign two documents on the same day. Jason signs a car loan, 7.9% interest, 6 years. He does not think much about the percentage. The monthly payment fits, the car is the one he wanted, he drives home feeling good. Marcus signs something different, an index fund agreement. Same month, he sets up an automatic contribution of $400 a month, 10.1% average annual return historically. He does not think much about that percentage either. He just starts it and goes back to his life. 10 years later, Jason has made every payment on time. His credit score is fine. He is on his second car now, financed again. He has approximately $1,400 left from what he originally borrowed on a vehicle now worth less than he owes. Marcus has approximately $82,000 in his investment account from those same $400 monthly contributions. The difference between their outcomes is not income. It is not discipline in any dramatic sense. It is one thing: which direction the percentage was working. Interest rates are the most powerful financial force in most people's lives and the least understood. They quietly determine whether your money is growing or shrinking, whether wealth is building or draining, and whether the financial decisions you make today are working for you or against you across decades. An interest rate is rent. When you borrow money, you pay rent on it to the bank, the car dealer, the credit card company. When you invest money, someone pays rent to you through dividends, market returns, or compound growth. This is the entire framework. Two directions, one percentage. Everything in your financial life falls into one of these two categories. The rent you pay on borrowed money compounds against you. The rent you receive on invested money compounds for you. And compounding, the process of earning returns on previous returns, is not linear. It is exponential. It accelerates over time in a way that makes early decisions enormously more consequential than they feel when you make them. A 7.9% interest rate on a car loan sounds like a modest number. Over 6 years on a $35,000 loan, it produces approximately $8,700 in interest paid, money that went to the lender and built exactly nothing for Jason in return. A 10.1% average annual return on $400 a month sounds equally modest. Over 10 years, it produces approximately $82,000, the vast majority of which is not Jason's contributions, but the compounding of returns on previous returns. Same basic mechanism, opposite direction, completely different financial life. According to the Federal Reserve's 2024 consumer credit data, the average credit card interest rate in the United States is currently 22.77%. That is the highest recorded figure in the Federal Reserve's data series going back to 1994. Most people who carry a credit card balance do not feel that rate. They feel the monthly payment. They feel the minimum, the $45 or $85 that keeps the account current. The percentage lives in the fine print and stays abstract. Here is what 22.77% actually does. Jason carries a $6,000 credit card balance. He makes minimum payments of approximately $120 a month at 22.77%. It will take him approximately 25 years to pay off that $6,000 balance. Total paid, approximately $21,600. The bank receives $15,600 in interest on $6,000 originally borrowed. That $15,600 is not a number Jason ever saw on a statement. It accumulated slowly, invisibly across monthly minimums that felt manageable every single month they arrived. According to the Federal Reserve's 2023 survey of consumer finances, 46% of American families carry credit card debt month to month. The median balance among those carrying it, $5,700. The cost of that balance at current rates, carried to pay off on minimum payments, devastating and almost never fully calculated by the person carrying it. This is the most expensive money most Americans ever borrow. Not their mortgage, not their student loans, their visa. Daniel is buying a $350,000 home. He puts 20% down. His loan, $280,000. At 6% interest, the rate he locked in before rates climbed, his monthly payment is $1,679. Over 30 years, he pays approximately $324,000 in interest on top of the $280,000 he borrowed. Total paid to the bank, $604,000. His neighbor, Marcus, locked the same loan at 7.5%, 6 months later when rates had moved. His monthly payment, $1,958. Over 30 years, Marcus pays approximately $424,000 in interest. Total paid, $704,000. The difference between Daniel and Marcus, same house, same loan amount, same 30 years, is $100,000 from a 1.5 percentage point difference in interest rate. $100,000 from what feels like a rounding error on a percentage point. This is why interest rate environment is not a macroeconomic abstraction for people buying homes. It is a six-figure personal finance decision dressed in language that sounds distant. When the Federal Reserve raises rates, it is not adjusting a statistical measure. It is adding tens of thousands of dollars to the lifetime cost of every new mortgage written. According to Freddie Mac's 2024 data, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate moved from approximately 3.1% in late 2021 to a peak of 7.8% in late 2023. A buyer who purchased in late 2021 at 3.1% on a $280,000 loan pays $1,194 per month and approximately $150,000 in total interest. The same buyer in late 2023 at 7.8% pays $2,014 per month and approximately $445,000 in total interest. Same house, same loan, $295,000 more to the bank from timing the purchase differently by 2 years. Here is a less obvious direction interest rates damage wealth. A high-yield savings account currently yields approximately 4.5% to 5% according to Bankrate's 2024 rate survey. That sounds attractive, better than the 0.5% the average traditional savings account pays according to FDIC data. But inflation, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data, has run between 3 and 4% through 2024. The real return on a 5% savings account in a 3.5% inflation environment is approximately 1.5%. The money is nominally growing but losing purchasing power in real terms at a modest pace. Meanwhile, Marcus's total market index fund, despite volatile years, has averaged 10.1% nominally since 1928 per NYU Stern's database. Subtract the same 3.5% inflation and his real return is approximately 6.6% annually. The investor earning 5% in a savings account and the investor earning 10.1% in an index fund are not separated by 5.1 percentage points. They are separated by 5.1 percentage points compounded over decades, which produces an outcome difference that is difficult to overstate. $50,000 at 5% for 20 years, approximately $133,000. $50,000 at 10.1% for 20 years, approximately $345,000. The difference, $212,000, comes entirely from understanding that safety and wealth are not always the same thing, and that the interest rate on the safe account is not as consequential as it first appears. Here is the framework that changes how you evaluate every financial product you encounter for the rest of your life. Every financial product either pays you an interest rate or charges you one. That is the entire universe of financial decisions. When a rate is paid to you, investment returns, dividend yields, savings account interest, the goal is to maximize the rate and extend the time. Compounding does the work when left alone. When a rate is charged to you, mortgage interest, car loan APR, credit card APR, the goal is to minimize the rate and eliminate the obligation as efficiently as possible. Compounding works against you with identical mechanical force. The mistake most people make is evaluating the product, the car, the house, the credit card, the investment account, rather than evaluating the rate and its direction. A $35,000 car at 3.9% over 4 years costs $2,838 in interest. The same car at 7.9% over 6 years costs $8,700. The car is the same car. The rate and the term are the wealth decision. The car is just the thing that came with it. A $6,000 vacation on a 22.77% credit card paid off over 3 years costs approximately $2,400 in interest. The same vacation saved for over 3 years costs exactly $6,000. The vacation is the same vacation. The interest rate is the $2,400 premium charged for impatience. When Jason sat across from the finance manager at the dealership and signed for his car loan, one question would have restructured his entire financial relationship with that transaction. What is the total cost of this purchase at this rate over this term? Not the monthly payment, the total cost. Monthly payment questions are answered by adjusting the term. Stretching the loan from 4 years to 6 years to 7 years makes the monthly number smaller while making the total cost significantly larger. The dealership is not misleading Jason when it offers him a manageable monthly payment. It is optimizing for the number Jason is asking about rather than the number Jason should be asking about. Total cost is the honest number. Monthly payment is the comfortable number. They frequently point in opposite directions. The same question applies to mortgages, credit cards, student loans, any obligation with a rate attached. Understanding interest rates does not require a finance degree. It requires one consistent habit, calculating both the direction and the total cost of every rate you encounter, whether it is working for you or against you. Jason's car and Marcus's index fund were not different decisions about wealth versus spending. They were the same decision, where to direct a percentage made in opposite directions. The car charged Jason a rate. The market paid Marcus one. Neither percentage seemed significant on the day it was signed. One accumulated into $8,700, quietly paid to a lender. The other accumulated into $82,000, quietly building in an account. The percentage was always the decision. The product was just the reason it felt like something else. Interest rates are not background information. They are the mechanism through which every financial outcome in your life is actually determined. Understanding them, which direction they run, what they compound into, what the total cost actually is the difference between money working for you and money quietly working for someone else. Did you include the rate?